Hello! Welcome to Dolphin Hat Daily.
I mean, that was quite the intro, bro. I like how you got a little spooky setup here.
It is spooky.
It is spooky.
The jack-o'-lantern?
I didn't even see this. This lights up.
It does.
Woo!
Ooh, scary!
But actually, my favorite of this is this one, of course.
Oh, there it is.
To live, perchance to die, to dream. I think I hacked that Hamlet speech.
It was great.
I know he says perchance or something in that. He goes,
Perhaps.
I think he says perchance.
Perchance.
Sounds like a stupid word they'd say back in the olden days, right? The olden Shakespearean days.
Yeah, Shakespearean.
Yep.
Go with that.
Perchance. Perhaps.
Mayhaps.
Mayhaps. Very spooky, though.
Very spooky. So, speaking of creepy skulls and...
Didn't we do the Skeletor voice at some point? Or no, we did the...
it was Cobra.
Cobra. What does Skeletor sound like? Do you remember? Come on, man. That was that Mark Hamill? Or
yes, that was Mark Hamill.
And the new one, too. He's doing it in the new one, too.
I have the power.
No, that's He-Man, man.
Well, he did the thing with when he got
I have the power!
That was good. So, Dave's drinking tea.
I like the skull for a face, like if you're dressing up. You know what I mean? That's a good dress up.
It's good.
You know? Unless you're fighting the Karate Kid, apparently.
Right.
Because then Mr. Miyagi will come out and beat you up.
Miyagi-san.
Did you ever think about that a little bit? This karate master coming out and beating up these teen punks? Isn't that something?
Why, yes, Dave.
Well, they were chasing after Daniel, right?
Right.
And he was wearing like a...
He was a
shower?
Yeah, he was wearing a shower. Because
you probably would have been one of those guys in those skull suits.
Yes, I would have.
Cobra Kai?
Yes.
Have you seen the new Cobra Kai?
I have not.
All right, we're going off the rails here a little bit, but I have not seen it either. I heard it was good.
Well, I was going to talk about...
Before he was so rudely interrupted. I treat our videos like a Sunday conversation, I guess, sometimes.
You have conversations on Sunday?
Ooh, a conversation about Sundays.
Sundays.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Pancakes, bacon.
No, I meant like ice cream sundaes.
Oh, no, I meant Sundays.
Oh, you meant like Sunday morning breakfast.
Right.
I'm with you. All right, so go ahead. Entertain the people.
Go back to we're going to talk about some spooky, scary tales, perhaps.
Ooh, DuckTales.
Mayhaps that you have heard.
Mayhaps. Hold on 1 second. Mayhaps. Mayhaps you've heard.
Right.
You say it to the skull.
Mayhaps. It'd be funny if he talked back mayhaps. You know, Ichabod. Sorry.
Is that kind of like the mishaps?
Yes.
Dude, Ichabod. Now that was classic. That's a classic spooky story.
Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow. Do you know in Disney every year? I think they do it once a year. They have the Headless Horseman ride a horse. I think it's Disneyland.
Nice.
And of course, he's carrying the pumpkin, that's on fire and stuff like that. That's just awesome, huh?
Yeah,
I think that'd be
cool.
pretty cool to see. I'd like to see that at some point.
Throw a flaming pumpkin at you.
Yeah. Did you like the Johnny Depp version?
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. I guess the one thing I like about that movie is kind of like the atmosphere of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a kind of cool, kind of gothic horror atmosphere a little bit.
The director was the same guy that did Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, he always has Johnny Depp in there.
Yeah,
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yes.
Tim Burton is one of his best movies. Well, he did the original Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably his best.
Yeah.
But Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Really?
Spooky in its own right, I guess.
Yeah.
No, but I do love that movie though.
Yeah.
I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?
So
spooky story.
Some spooky stories.
Tell me a spooky story. I'm ready to be scared because it's October.
Yes, one of my favorite stories was my toe.
Not your leg.
No, not
that is a scary story. I don't think we should share that.
Can't say with that one. My toe was where you take someone, you tell the story during, obviously dinner, or you tell it, during, where someone is eating a stew, right?
Yeah.
And they're eating the stew, and they got the stew. And his toe, the character who is missing their toe, is actually in the stew. And then a person eats the toe.
Oh.
Like takes a bite of it. And then this like walking corpse comes into them and is like, "Hey, my toe, my toe."
Yeah, no, I've not heard this one.
And then it was in a book. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah. It was
that
like
sounds pretty good though.
Scary stories.
That sounds like it'd be kind of like a good kind of Halloween party type thing to do. You start telling the story,
Ew.
everybody's eating soup, and then someone digs up a toe. Like, oh, there's a toe in my soup.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
How would you fake a toe though? Would you have to go like all in?
I'm sure. Yeah, we might be able to get like a gummy toe or something, put it in there. get like a. Oh, you know what? Maybe you could do is get like one of those little chicken wing parts or something like that. Kind of whittle it into a toe-looking thing
after you've cooked it.
Oh, that'd be gross.
Chicken toe.
Like imagine eating this bowl of soup at your friend's house, and then you got this nasty chicken bone in there.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. Well, I thought you were actually going to tell a story, so I got a story that I was going to tell.
Do it.
It's not a spooky, but I think it's spooky enough to tell here.
Well,
it's about a pirate. Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. Should we leave the lights on?
Yeah, you can leave the lights on.
Okay.
Well, this story is partly true.
This is a partly true story.
Partly true.
that you're telling it.
That's the true part.
Right.
So I was on vacation, and we were at the Outer Banks of North Carolina. You've been there. You've been to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And I was walking out to this dock. I see this old man standing out at this dock. And as I walk a little bit closer, I happen to notice, oh, this kind of looks like a piratey kind of fella, you know?
He's got a pirate vibe.
Yeah, kind of a pirate aura, if you will, kind of just kind of seeping off of him, you know?
Seeping.
Yeah, just kind of a wave of pirateness.
Is that a reference to my leg?
It could be. So I keep walking a little bit closer, and I'm walking a little bit closer to the dock, and as I get closer, well, yeah, this is a pirate, right? This is a pirate. And I'm looking at him, and I'm just making sure, checking out this pirate, and he happens to glance over at me, and I can tell that he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm able to kind of size him up and down, and he is a pirate. He's got a peg leg. He's got a hook for a hand. He's got an eye patch.
Oh, those are three main ingredients.
Yeah. So he sees that I'm looking at him, and he starts kind of hobbling over towards me, right? And he's kind of chunk when he's walking, chunk when he's walking, chunk when he's walking. And I'm kind of standing there, and it's such a mysterious situation that I really can't move, you know? And he keeps walking towards me, chunk, chunk. And finally he gets to me, and he says, "Yar! I sees you've been staring at me."
Yar!
And I said, yeah, I saw you at the end of the dock there. He goes, "Oh, I bet you've been wondering how has I got a peg leg." Okay. And I said to him, "Well, how did you get that peg leg?" He says, "Whoa. In the midst of a mighty sea battle, cannons were firing at a boat, and the boat was firing cannons at us, and alas, a cannonball came swooping down and smashed into me leg and blew it to smithereens, and that is how I got this peg leg." I said, "Wow, that's some kind of story." Well, he turned around and started walking back to the dock.
Yeah.
Chunk.
Chunk.
And then he looked back at me, and he goes, "Har! I sees that you still be staring at me." And he started walking back towards me. Chunk. Chunk. And he goes, "I bet you've been wondering how I got this hook for a hand." And I said, yeah, I was kind of wondering how you got that hook for a hand. And he said, "Well, in the midst of a mighty sea battle, pirates from another boat jumped over to our boat, and we were fighting with our cutlasses. And I thrust, and I parried, and I thrust, and I parried. But alas, I must have parried when I should have thrust.
and my arm was sliced off.
Ooh.
And that is how I got this hook for a hand. I said, well, that's an interesting story. And he turned around and he started walking back to the dock. Cha-chunk, cha-chunk.
There's some great sound effects.
And then he looked back at me one more time. And he says, I see you still be staring at me, matey. And he walked back, cha-chunk, cha-chunk. And he goes, I bet you're wondering how I got this patch on my eye. I said, yeah, I've been wondering how you got that patch on your eye. He goes, well, one day in the morning I woke up and I had this awful itch on my eye. Oh, and I forgot I had this hook. And that was the end of the pirate story.
That is a banger. It's like rubbing the sleep from your eye and you rub out your eye.
You rub out your eye with the hook.
Oh, God.
So is that kind of spooky? It's a little
A
spooky.
little spooky. You're gouging out eyeballs and
Gouging out your eyeball.
Losing
See,
your leg.
see, if I didn't have my glasses on, typically if I'd be telling this around a campfire, I'd be like, ah! But I had my glasses on.
right.
I should have taken them off for dramatic effect and done this. It's like they do in the newscast, you know?
Right. Like right if you do the pirate stuff, you took your glasses off.
Yar. Yeah, every time I do the pirate thing. Right, so that's my spooky story.
Well, I was gonna, just.
He's like, how do I follow that?
I don't.
up?
Yeah. It's, I was gonna go with the girl with the red ribbon. I like that
Ooh, how does that go?
one. Remember the girl with the red ribbon?
No.
Where were you as a child?
Tell me the story. I don't know it. I'd like to know.
There was a lady that had a red ribbon around her neck, and she's very pretty.
All right. Okay.
So, and on her wedding day, she says to her soon-to-be husband, I will marry you, I love you, let's get married, such forth, but you can never ask me to take off the red ribbon.
Ooh.
So the husband says,
That's like one of those things. Like
Yeah.
somebody asks you, like, don't do this one little thing. You're like, I gotta do the one little thing. Yeah.
so they get married, and the husband says he'll never ask. And then, of course, life goes on, and, they're a married couple, and she's sleeping one day, and he unties the ribbon,
Oh no!
and her head falls right off.
Oh no!
So don't untie the red ribbon. I guess that's the moral.
That's
of
the end of the story.
That's the end of the story. These are short stories, man. I remember as a kid.
So we can just do a reenactment right here. So the little red ribbon's here, and
Right.
you, take it off, and it goes. Ah!
Right, exactly. It's kind of like like this is like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's the red ribbon story.
So you're
I like
saying
that.
like if
I don't know, I could get that. Yeah,
right?
I could get that.
There's probably more to it, but I don't really remember the entire.
That's the gist. I got
Yeah,
the gist.
you know.
Yeah, it's-
Don't untie the red ribbon. Don't do it.
Don't ever untie the red
She
ribbon.
tells you not to do
Don't
it.
do it.
And I would tell you one I remember was Creep Show.
Yeah.
Do you remember Creep Show?
Oh yeah, I remember Creep Show.
Do you remember the doc?
Trying to remember.
There was.
I mean, I remember this show, and I remember it was it was written by Stephen King,
Right.
And I think it was filmed by the guy that did Night of the Living Dead too, something like that.
Well, the Creep Show had the guy,
Yeah.
and there was the one about.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
There was one about the dock where the kids are swimming.
Yeah.
Right. And there's this thing in the water.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh
the
yeah.
servant finally.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So you
All
just
right.
go swimming in it. The guy's like, he's sucked in there. I love the Creep Show. Yeah.
I told I made up a great spooky story, but it was when we were on vacation, a small little vacation down at Cape San Blas.
Yeah.
And I made up this whole cockamamie story about why we were able to light the fires on the beach there. Is to ward off ghost ships,
Yeah.
And the kids were probably a little bit too young for this story that I
nice.
made up.
Nice.
So, needless to say, we had some kids that night that were like,
Oh my God!
I think that combined with, you're on the beach and you're looking with flashlights, you see all the
Yep.
crabs and creepy
Ghost
crawlies,
crabs.
you know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? And so
Yeah.
I think we had them sufficiently spooked out. But also with the Cub Scouts, every year we would do this thing where
we would have a Yeti, hunt for a Yeti, or we would do a zombie night or something
Yeah.
like that, and we'd go and we'd have tricks or treats for the kids, whatever, bonfire, and make s'mores, all that other stuff. But during this one thing, you're supposed to go on this kind of like hunt, but the hunt that you're doing is you're learning
Yeah.
these little skills. You're
Yeah.
you're learning how to do these little things, as a scout. But some of the parents kind of were overzealous about making some of the scary noises out in the woods as zombies. some of the scouts weren't too
Yeah.
happy with that one. But yeah, spooky stories can be particularly effective, especially in the right setting.
Yes.
A lot of it has to do with the setting.
Yes.
But yeah, man, gotta love a good spooky story. Love a good horror movie, especially this time of year. But yeah, man, spooky stories, spooky
stuff.
spooky.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, for our spooky stories.
Thank you.
And the pirate story that was gouging out eyeballs.
Oh, and speaking of spooky, I don't know if we have a copy here, but we've got a spooky version of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
We just happen to have that
We do
right here.
Oh yeah, we've got a spooky version of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza available now at Amazon.
Amazon.
And Hot Topic.
Hot topic.
But yeah, it's got all of our favorite little characters dressed up in their favorite Halloween costumes. Not scary, just fun. So that's the Halloween version of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. So thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
Thanks. See ya.